Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project. Now, there's something that I am a little confused about, so I'm hoping you guys can help me. Now, it was announced last week that the National Works Agency was being put in charge of the entire Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project. And I'm trying to figure out who was in charge of the project before the NWA was put in charge. Now, we're looking at this board. The Government of Jamaica, Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. Alright, we all know that this highway project is not in the Ministry of Transport, it's in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. That is the ministry where you also find the National Works Agency. So I'm beginning to believe they weren't in charge of this project. I mean, now going forward, it's NWA from last week. Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project Phase B2. That is from Harborview to the Yallow's Bridge. Now, NWA said from day one, when everybody was asking about the local contractors and the timeline and everything, the National Works Agency said they were the implementing agency. The implementing agency. They've always said that. So they were not in charge of the project according to what they said. Now, the bottom line, contractor, China Harbour Engineering Company. Alright, we all know they are the main contractor for this project. So the other line now that says construction management consultant, Stanley Jamaica Engineers, and then you have SJE Consultants Limited. Now, what was their role in this project? I am beginning to, I'm curious, I'm just wondering, were they in charge of this project? I mean, construction management consultant, SGE Consultants Limited, and then beside it you have Stanley Jamaica Engineers. So I'm trying to figure out what role did they play in this project. So if anybody knows, you can leave a comment in the section below, because somebody had to be in charge of the project. Now, China Harbour Engineering Company is a contractor, so they were doing the physical work. The Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation were not in charge of the project. The NWA was not in charge of the project. So I'm trying to figure out what role those other two companies played. SJE Consultants Limited and Stanley Jamaica Engineers. Were they the ones who did the alignment? I don't know. I'm asking the question. If anybody knows, you can leave a comment in the section below, because something went seriously wrong with this project. It just, and the local contractors, when the problem arose, they said nobody, alright, no, let's not go there. It was said that nobody was monitoring this project properly. The project was not being monitored properly, but no name was called. So I'm trying to figure out, before the NWA took over the project, who was in charge of the project. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Alright guys, now some subscribers have said I'm too political with this, blaming the government, and so we're not going to go there. We are just trying to figure out what happened, and because I mean, right there at the top, the Government of Jamaica, Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, The Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, they signed the contract with China Harbor, with the China Exim Bank, to get the money to build this project. And it was that ministry that chose China Harbor Engineering Company as the contractor. Well, I don't think they had much of a choice, because when you go to the China Exim Bank, they would have said China Harbor Engineering Company has to do the work, which is fine, because somebody at the NWA said no contractor in Jamaica can do the work that China Harbor Engineering Company does. They've done a great job on a lot of the highways. I think they're just stretched a bit thin. That is why, meaning they have so much work in Jamaica now, that is why this project is delayed so much. I mean, people had left comments saying COVID and the contractor was not able to come to Jamaica for a whole year. But just to give you guys a quick summary of the timeline of this project. This road from Harborview to Portland should have been built in 3 years. 3 years. And then you would have 2 years to which the road could be used, you work out any issues, and then the government starts to pay back the loan at the end of year 5. Well, that loan has now become due. I mean, they have to start making payments on the loan now, and not one section of this road is finished as of today, and we're close to the end of June. Not one section. Now, the road was split. It's 140 kilometers of road, and the road was split into 16 sections, 16 parts. 5 out of the 16 parts have not even started. That is 5 years after the road project started, and 2 years after which the project should have finished. 5 sections of the road have not started. Some sections were started and the work has just stopped, and it has created a nightmare for the people living in St. Thomas. Okay, but the main gist of this video is we're trying to figure out who was in charge of this project, who was monitoring it, because I mean, the money had to be paid to the subcontractors, the contractors. Somebody must have been monitoring this project. The timelines came from somewhere. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. Who was in charge of the project before last week when the NWA was put in charge of it? And guys, we're not a political channel, but right there at the top of the board you see the Government of Jamaica, Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. They paid the money, so that is why you find that we post articles and discuss things that the government says. But we're not a political channel, we're not blaming anybody, we're just trying to figure out what happened, because there's another massive project to start sometime soon, the Southern Coastal Highway Expansion project, which is more money than this one, and it is the same contractor. So if the people don't understand what went wrong with this project, chances are it will go wrong with that project. Are you going to use subcontractors on that project? China Harbor Engineering Company is the contractor. There is no question about that, because as the NWA said, or a person that works there, no local contractor can do the work at China Harbor Engineering Company. So they are the contractor, but that road is far busier, the Southern Coastal Highway, than this road. That's the road that takes you from the Norman Manley International Airport, the Sangster International Airport, to the busiest tourist areas in Jamaica. Negril, well, Montego Bay is one, and the airport is in Montego Bay. Oterios, Trelawney, the entire North Coast, Port Antonio. So you cannot dig up that road and leave it for 2 years. Talking about your laying pipes. It can't work. So that is why we have to look at this road project, find out what went wrong, and make sure it doesn't happen again. Alright guys, thanks for taking the tour with us. And if somebody can explain the role that those two companies played in this project. I mean, their name is on the board. We don't usually call names, but the name is on the board. So we're just trying to figure out, one, were any of them in charge of the project, and two, what was their role in the project. Alright guys, thanks for taking the tour with us today. Remember to like, share and subscribe. Have a good day.